In a town where a squirrel lives in an underwater dome and time travel is just a freezer trip away, you'd think nothing could surprise you anymore. But then there's Patrick Starr's rock. On the outside, it's just a rock. Lift it up though, and suddenly you've got multiple rooms, fancy furniture, and even a throne room? Well, in today's video, we're going full detective mode to figure out how Patrick's architectural nightmare actually works. Before we can start explaining how Patrick's home even works, we have to go over the very first fundamental issue here. Patrick's house is a rock, literally. Not a rock with a door cut into it, but a rock with a hinge. And for a while, all we ever see of Patrick's home is the exterior. But that all changed in the episode I'm with Stupid. If you've not seen this episode, it's the one where Patrick asks SpongeBob to play dumb so his parents visiting from out of town would think he's cool. The plan works flawlessly as SpongeBob taps into his inner dimwit and instantly wins over the visiting starfish. But honestly, that's not even the most shocking part of this episode. What blew us away with this episode was the fact that it was the first time we really got to see Patrick's home, and we couldn't believe our eyes. On the outside, it looked like just a rock covering a hole, but once you lift that bad boy up, you can see the living room with a TV and couch, a bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, and even a freaking throne room. So where does it all go when the rock is down? Is the whole house getting compressed, or is it hiding in another dimension? Well, these questions are a bit tricky, but we'll break it all down by taking it one room at a time. And what better place to start than the living room? The living room is a staple you'd find in any home in Bikini Bottom, but Patrick's living room takes things to a whole new level. Patrick's suspiciously spacious living room comes with a TV, a couch, and a lamp that's literally just a torch jammed into the ground. But as we learn in Pat Hart's Squid, that was only the tip of the iceberg. After Squidward moves in with Patrick, we find out that the living room is roomy enough to fit Patrick's bougie kitchen, and this wasn't some bargain bin setup. It had everything you'd expect in a modern kitchen, minus the part where it's somehow under a rock.
What is this place? Squidward? Did you do all this?
Well, I figured if I have to stay here, I might.
If you've ever moved furniture, you know it's a nightmare. You've got to measure doorways, angle couches, and sometimes remove doors from their hinges. Now, imagine trying to move a couch through an opening that's only accessible by lifting a rock. A rock that, by the way, doesn't appear to have an opening large enough to fit furniture through. Unless Patrick assembles all his furniture inside the house, which, again, would require skills we've never seen Patrick demonstrate. At this point, the only reasonable explanation is that Patrick is secretly a wizard. Sure, calling someone that clueless a wizard sounds insane, but just wait until you find out that his rock also doubles as a hotel. We uncover the mind-blowing fact in the episode Patrick's Staycation, and it immediately raises way more questions than we ever signed up to answer. It all starts when Patrick tells SpongeBob that he's tired of doing the same routine every day. Good old SpongeBob recommends a vacation, but they soon realize how much it costs. So, SpongeBob comes up with a plan to use Patrick's home for a staycation. And that's where the magic happens. In a few seconds, Patrick's home suddenly has a full-blown lobby where SpongeBob acts as the concierge.
Sir, my name is Todd. Can I check you in?
I don't know, can you?
Yes. Star. Patrick Star, room 801. Your key, sir. And please don't hesitate to let us know if there's anything we can do to make your stay more comfortable.
And as if that wasn't crazy enough, Patrick got assigned a room in the hotel where concepts like physics and architecture are nothing but a suggestion. When Patrick sees his room, he hates the layout. So SpongeBob goes to work stacking the furniture so high it practically turns the place into a castle.
Oh dear.
Something wrong, Mr. Star?
Well, honestly, I'm not sure I like the way this room is arranged.
Arranged? 1 hour later. Mr. Star, are you sure about this?
You know, Maybe it's the walls.
But let's do some math here. Patrick appears to be about the same height as SpongeBob, who, according to his driver's license, is 4 inches tall. Okay, so if we scale that up to make it somewhat reasonable for the house interiors we see, Patrick's rock would need to be at least 15 feet wide to accommodate all the furniture we see in that episode. But it's not. It's maybe 3 feet across, 4 feet tops. The only logical explanation is that Patrick's rock breaks the laws of physics. It casually grows taller whenever Patrick needs to get more space, and as crazy as that sounds, it's just the beginning because we still have a few impossible rooms to cover. And up next is the throne room. Now, you might be wondering why a sea star like Patrick even has a throne room. But that's the same question we all asked the moment we watched Rule of Dumb. In this episode, Patrick suddenly discovers he's royalty, and naturally, his first royal duty is stuffing his face with Krabby Patties. But what he does next absolutely knocks our socks off. He makes citizens of Bikini Bottom give up a prized possession. And he does it from his house, which suddenly has a throne room.
Opinion on something. Do you think the giant flat screen TV should go over the fancy egg display or the indoor swimming pool?
We could get behind the fact that he now needs a throne room as a king, but Patrick goes way overboard. Besides the giant throne, Patrick somehow squeezed in a water fountain, a fancy egg display, a 100-inch TV, and even a full-on indoor swimming pool. All under his rock. You'd think the giant castle perched on Patrick's rock was the tallest his home could possibly get. But the episode Factory Fresh says otherwise. In this mind-bending episode, Mr. Krabs uses a marketing company to sell the idea of frozen Krabby Patties to customers, and Patrick gets chosen to star in the commercial. In seconds, Patrick becomes a household name as the frozen patties blow up. At the peak of his new business empire, SpongeBob swings by his best friend's place only to find that the rock has been replaced by a 15-story apartment building complete with an elevator.
Going up.
I'm going to a party. A party to celebrate my friend's upcoming 400th commercial.
Uh-huh.
I brought ice cream. Me and my best friend are gonna share the ice cream. Who knows? Maybe we'll...
Now, an elevator was the last thing anyone expected to find under Patrick's rock, but the pink blob somehow managed to shock us yet again. Once you're done scratching your head over how Patrick crammed that ridiculous throne room under a rock, we've got something even crazier for you to chew on. This time, Patrick somehow sneaks an entire tanning room under his rock, and we get a glimpse of it in the episode Sunbleached. All because a super tanned seal named Craig Mamelton made bronze skin the price of admission to his party. Patrick basically whips out his invisible magic wand and manifests a full tanning room out of thin air.
Now that we've turned your rock into a tanning bed, we're sure to get tan enough for the party. Let's just test it out first to be sure.
Even though the tanning room only appears in this one episode, it completely throws everything we thought we knew about Patrick's home out the window. One minute, the ceiling is high enough for SpongeBob to stack furniture to the heavens, and the next, it's so low they can use it to get a clean tan. Make it make sense. It's safe to say, there's no understanding of the rooms in Patrick's home, but what makes it even scarier is the fact that the madness doesn't stop there. The next stop on our journey through Patrick's mind-bending home is his theater, which makes its appearance in the first scene of Patrick's staycation. SpongeBob tries to get Patrick to show him slides from his vacation, but the dumb sea star rides his projector like a horse until it breaks. Even though Patrick and SpongeBob don't spend much time in the theater, we can clearly see the setup Patrick has down there for watching movies on his projector. We still haven't wrapped our heads around how someone as clueless as Patrick even owns furniture, but the home theater? Yeah, that's where things officially go too far. But if you do accept that Patrick managed to make all these rooms possible, there's still one thing we have to cover, and it shows up in shell games. This time, Patrick wakes up one day to discover that his rock was actually the shell of a turtle that had slept for 30 years. Any other character would be freaking out that their home suddenly grew arms and legs. But all Patrick does is go about his day like it was nothing. It doesn't take long for Tony the turtle to notice Patrick squatting in his shell, so the turtle shows up to kick him out. But Patrick isn't giving up his home that easily. The two start fighting over who gets to keep the shell, and in classic Bikini Bottom fashion, they end up breaking it and leaving both of themselves homeless.
My shell! My rock!
Yeesh, couple of babies over here.
There are a lot of things to unpack in shell games, but putting all that aside, we just got handed the shock of our lives. The presence of Tony the Turtle means everything we've discussed so far has all been happening under a living creature. The animators really expect us to believe that all those ridiculous rooms, appliances, and luxury features exist under a creature who once overslept for months. And as hard as that is to swallow, the foundation of Patrick's home pushes the limits even further. When Patrick lifts his rock, we see the entrance to his house. But what's the foundation? Is it just carved into the sand? Because sand is not structurally sound, people. You can't just dig a hole in sand and expect it to maintain its shape, especially underwater, where there are currents, unless the house isn't actually under the sand at all. What if, when Patrick lifts the rock, it's creating a temporary portal to wherever the house actually exists? The rock is just the door and the house is somewhere else entirely. Maybe in a pocket universe where physics makes slightly more sense. That would explain why we never see Patrick doing any maintenance. No roof repairs, no foundation work, nothing. Because the house isn't subject to normal wear and tear. It exists in a protected space that can only be accessed through the rock. This also explains why nobody ever questions it. In Bikini Bottom, they're used to weird stuff. A portable portal to a pocket dimension house? Sure, why not? No matter what you think about Patrick's stupidity, you have to admit that his home is one of the greatest architectural mysteries of Bikini Bottom. So if you've made it this far into the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, or you're going to have to live under Patrick's rock for the rest of your life.